Hello, guys. Once again, welcome to the SNS Cricket Diaries podcast. It's so great to see, guys, कि आप हमें इतना support कर रहे हैं. We have been getting encouraging news in terms of the number of views. Of course, it's not about the views only. It's actually about the content. So, thank you so much for giving us the support and giving us constant encouragement to continue to keep this going. And welcome, Shri, to another podcast on the SNS Cricket Diaries.
Thank you, Sid. Thanks a lot for the warm welcome, and thanks to all the listeners and people who have supported us with their likes and comments and feedback. It's been encouraging because something that we're doing out of our own natural sort of passion for the game, and it's one of the greatest stages for the game of cricket. And if you have not done already, please like, share, and subscribe with your friends, families. It'll be great for us to share this love with other members in the community which love cricket.
एब्सोल्युटली एब्सोल्युटली श्री तो हम जल्दी से शुरू करते हैं आज का पॉडकास्ट सो आज के टॉकिंग पॉइंट्स पहले तो लेट मी टेल माय व्यूअर्स सो वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑफ कोर्स द बिग वन व्हिच इज द इंडिया पाकिस्तान match that happened yesterday. Of course, during the week also, a lot of other very good and very important games took place. Australia's performance so far, we're going to discuss that as well. New Zealand's consistency is something that I think we are just used to it now, but we're going to discuss that as well. And we're going to discuss about Sri Lanka also. उन्होंने दो मैचेस अभी लूज किए हैं, but उनकी बैटिंग दोनों में बहुत अच्छी चली. So we're going to discuss a little bit more in detail about their batting and especially Kusal Mendis. And of course, we'll wrap it up with South Africa. Very interestingly, I think they came into this tournament as dark horse. Although some were saying that they definitely were coming in good form, but to see them perform so well in the first two games is a complete contrast to how it started for them in 2019 World Cup. So we're going to discuss that in detail. So, but first, yes, let's get into the India-Pakistan game. Shri, your first impressions about the game. I give you 30 seconds.
More of the same.
Yeah.
Especially when we are talking about the World Cups, barring, say, two encounters, all of them, especially at the World Cups, now being 8-0, has been one-sided towards India. So in that way, it was more of the same. I mean, that was my short sort of maybe a 3-second sort of a response as well. Yeah.
Yes, I think श्री जब ये मैच शुरू होने से पहले I think हमने एक बार फोन पे डिस्कस किया था कि you were talking about their batting especially after their game against Sri Lanka. पाकिस्तान की बैटिंग बहुत स्ट्रांग लग रही थी and for a change their batting was looking stronger than their bowling which I think probably has never been the case before. But and their two additions, Abdullah Shafiq and Saud Shakil, were giving them a sense of calm and assurance in that top and middle order. So how do you view the batting first of Pakistan? What do you think went wrong with their batting?
I think that's a very good point, Sid, to start our discussions. मेरे हिसाब से the intent and the planning was lacking. When I say intent, they did start well. The opening partnership between Abdullah Shafiq and Imam ul Haq was pretty good. I thought, okay, we might have a tight game in our hands today. But what happened was, after the wickets fell, right, after especially Babar got out, which we will discuss in detail, they didn't seem to have a plan B when the ball got old. So that is something that I think even the experts from Pakistan were discussing, especially Wasim Akram and Misbah and all these people, that they didn't. India actually tried swinging the new ball and it was not swinging at all. So Bumrah, Siraj started bowling cross seam.
Yeah.
And then the time for Pakistan was to look at plan B, and that they didn't have. So they are good when the plan A works, like whatever their natural game is. When it works, it is very good. But plan B is what they, were lacking.
Yeah, that's true. So I think if we look at the scorecard there, they got off to a pretty decent start. Abdullah Shafiq and Imam ul Haq were started with a flurry of boundaries, but then I think at the same time there were a few dot balls in between too, so that Pakistan is just couldn't absolutely get away with a flyer. Then Abdullah Shafiq got out with a score on 41, and then a few runs later, Imam ul Haq also got out. That brought in the two most experienced players. How do you think that partnership played out, Shri? A little bit more on Babar Azam's batting.
Yeah, there has been a perception that Babar Azam played within himself. Obviously, it had its his signature cover drive and all, which is always beautiful to watch. But it was within himself. You look at Babar Azam's strike rate; it is 86.2, which is not poor. It is good, but he didn't express himself, or he didn't. The right word to be used here is to assert himself.
Yeah.
Even Rizwan, brilliant batsman. The chase against Sri Lanka, Rizwan's efforts were, of the most importance there. So here as well, if you look at his strike rate, he's at 71%.
Yeah.
So again, the same thing they should have, even though till I think it will 38th over, till the 30th over, they were doing well, right? 152, 154 for two or something like that. But the strike rate was not that great. I mean, even when they were comfortable, they
Yeah.
didn't go beyond their shell to impose themselves against the Indian batsmen. So obviously, there is, they could be overawed by the occasion, the crowd, 100,000 plus, lack of plan B when the ball was old. So again, lot to be discussed in this regard. That was my impressions to answer your question there
Yeah.
on Babar Azam, the partnership.
Yeah. And of course, I think wicket also started to change a bit with the spinners on thoda sa slower. But I was observing their run rate all the time. It was hovering around
Mhm.
5. Sometimes it go to 4.9, but then a flurry of boundaries in between would get the run rate up to 5.1, 5.2, but not much beyond that. So I think that is where your point about them not really ascertaining themselves and really making sure that they take the match beyond India's reach, or at least get up to maybe 280 to 90. So that, but still, Shri, jab Babar Azam out hua, tell me a little bit about his dismissal first. Do you think it was a poor shot, or it was just maybe the ball just came too quickly onto him?
I think it was a short selection. I mean, the ball did do something like in terms of the behavior of the pitch, but the way he played was also not aiding that particular, ball. So basically, what I'm trying to say is it added on to it made the ball look more deadly or something like that. If he had played it normal, like a proper cricket shot, orthodox cricket shot, he could
Yeah,
have saved his wicket. But I felt that the short selection was just to add on to your previous point that you just made, right, in terms of their batting and all. I remember messaging you saying that, okay, this pitch has nothing when the opening partnership was going on, and this might go 100 overs. Imagine
yeah,
that was the impression I was getting. And suddenly to change, uh, it was surprising because no one
mm,
at this moment looking at Pakistani batting was
mm,
expecting such a slide, such a downfall from that very comfortable position that they were in. So, it's very shocking.
yeah, yeah. And of course, after that came Sod Shakil, who took a very risky single right on his first ball, and just Siraj did brilliantly well to gather the ball on his follow through and then try to run him out. That didn't happen, but then very soon South Shakil also got out LBW to Kuldeep Yadav, and then of course Rizwan was bowled by Bumrah. A little word on Bumrah, Shri. Experts were saying that Rohit Sharma did the right thing by taking him out of the attack after just 3 overs at the beginning when he was not really looking that threatening, and then with the old ball, that slower ball to get rid of Rizwan, and then that leg cutter to get rid of Shadab Khan. What do you think he did well to deceive them?
Yeah, I mean, here the obviously credit goes to the bowler, but credit also goes to the captain Rohit Sharma, and therefore he was on top of the game.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare him with the opposite captain, Babar Azam. He didn't react to the game. He didn't react to the pitch and the ball and the whole atmosphere. So Rohit Sharma was quick to react, and I think his captaincy at the IPL level and recent Indian captaincy has built up to this shrewd sort of tactician in him, where he saw Bumrah, Siraj. Siraj was not doing well at the start, if you remember, and there was some. I was concerned. Okay, Siraj didn't bowl well against Afghanistan last game. Is he going to do well? Even Wakar Yunus mentioned it. I
Yeah.
think Ramiz Raza was mentioning it. I think, if I'm not wrong. So Rohit Sharma quickly figured out that this ball is not going to swing in this particular wicket. they started plan B straight away, which is cross seam bowling, and that comes to the first wicket, I think, which Siraj took, LBW,
Yes.
Abdullah Shafiq. Now,
Yeah.
if you look at that ball, was proper cross seam ball, and it actually maybe could have hit the shiny side.
Yeah.
And because it was a new ball, so both sides, I mean, one of the sides would be definitely shiny more. So it hit and it skid and LBW straight.
Right.
Now, so that was not just for that ball, it was more for the ball to get roughed up. So when the ball gets roughed up, it will swing. Now, that comes to the question that you were asking about Bumrah's second spell, where he had that, massive off cutter.
Yeah.
Maybe the pace variation was also doing the trick here. Massive off cutter there, obviously, to look at Rizwan's stumps. Now, the South Shakil wicket, obviously, Kuldeep Yadav will come later, but that Rizwan wicket is the key wicket, which I think we should, pause on and, see how it impacted, because Rizwan can take it all the way, right? If you
Yes.
look at the Sri Lanka game.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I think yes, Rizwan's wicket was, and he looked deceived totally. So I think full credit to Bumrah for that. And in fact, he did say in his post match interview that he saw Kuldeep Yadav, sorry, Jadeja's ball turning a bit, and he said that his slower balls can really turn. And in fact, if we remember in one of the Test matches against England in 2021, the Lord's Test match which we won. He came round the wicket to Ollie Robinson and deceived him with a slow ball that actually turned. So I think he definitely does have now a good slow ball with which he can really pick key wickets at important times. And
He's done that more than once in overseas condition. If you remember, Sean Marsh in Australia,
absolutely yes,
slower ball Yorker, and his arm speed doesn't change. That's why the batsman, anyways, the batsman can't pick up the release point because it's too late.
true.
Experts were saying that usually bowlers release earlier on top, he releases in the front a bit. So it's giving the batsman less time to pick up that particular release point. And
True.
his arm speed doesn't change for slow delivery.
Yes, yes, and yeah. So with that, then he picked up Shadab Khan's wicket also, and before that, South Shakil also got out. So a little word on Kuldeep Yadav's performance. I think he was bowling pretty well without the pitch was not really assisting him that much, but I think those two wickets, because South Shakil and Iftikhar Ahmed Shriek could have really consolidated the position that Pakistan were in.
Yeah, just before I come to the Kuldeep Yadav performance during the mid innings, which was crucial and key, I would like to highlight the Shadab Khan wicket from Bumrah. It was actually reverse swing. That wicket was actually reverse swing, and that's what they were banking on with the cross seam delivery, which I mentioned at the start. So that was an unplayable delivery. Even experts, Pakistani pacers, former Pakistani pacers, Waqar Younis, Wasim Akram, saying that that's a proper reverse swing going out. Even a top order batsman could not have played it. So, I mean, that's where Bumrah's genius and skill comes in. I think he was telling Sanjay or someone at the end that how do you read the pitch so quickly? He said the experience and asking a lot of questions when he started off playing led him to build up that knowledge to assess the pitch quickly. Now, coming back quickly to Kuldeep Yadav, I mean, at the interview, right? I think he said, I think the mid innings interview, he said that he's watched because they've not seen South Shakil. So he watched last 2-3 games of South Shakil and he felt that he's a bit tentative against spin or there could be this area of potential weakness there. So he used that. And if you look at the position of South Shakil when he got out, he seemed neither here or not there. He was in between like movements. He was not at all balanced. Now, if you ask all the great batsmen, what's the quality of a good shot position or a good stance? It's the balance at the time of delivery or at the time of playing the ball as well. So South Shakil seemed very bamboozled by he could not pick. So the consensus amongst the experts, and I mean I could feel that as well, that he was not comfortable picking Kuldeep Yadav. Now, Iftikhar Ahmed, now I feel, now this is between you and me, Sid, and you might, get my analogy here. He reminds me of the old school Pakistani player. He could develop into that, and I see a potential captain in him. Just by his personality, I don't know. I'm just basing it on how his looks are, and he reminds me of a more '90s rugged cricketer, which is missing in Pakistan right now. So Iftikhar Ahmed, obviously the glove aided the ball to get into. Initially, I thought it was like he's bowled him around his legs, like
Exactly,
proper
exactly.
Shane
That's
Warne
what I
style.
thought. A la Shane Warne, but yeah.
Yeah, with googly, that is this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. but I thought it was the gloves. It was a poor shot selection. He was inside the line of the ball, like the ball was outside, his leg side. So I mean, he was not in the right position to play that sweep shot, and that was obviously leading to his demise. Again, are they reading Kuldeep Yadav properly? That is the question that we need to ask.
Yeah, I think Iftikhar Ahmed was trying to boss a bit because if you remember the ball prior to that, or a couple of balls prior to that, he got a short ball and he hit it into the deep wicket boundary. So I think he was trying to, because by that time pressure was building because Pakistan had lost I think a couple of wickets, and I think he was trying to change the momentum, and he's pretty good at it. He did that in the T20 World Cup, if you remember. He hit quite a few
Mhm.
sixes against us. So that's why I think that was a very crucial wicket for India to get. So come to that now. So Pakistan tail also then withers away, and we are able to dismiss them for less than 200, which I think at one point of time wasn't looking like probably 280 to 300. So so with that, so all five Indian bowlers picked up 2 wickets each. Only it was Shardul Thakur who did not pick up any wicket. Shri, before we go to the Pakistan batting, I mean, sorry, Indian batting, I want to touch upon Shardul Thakur. Rohit Sharma has been a bit apprehensive of using Shardul Thakur. If you see, he didn't use him much in the previous game that they played, I think, against Afghanistan, and he was expensive. And here also 2 overs only. While we didn't really need him today, but there will come a time, when one of our prime bowlers may have a bad day, and he will probably need to bowl more than just a couple of overs. And his batting, he hasn't done anything of note in ODI cricket as of now. Whatever limited chances he's got, do you think there is a weak link there for the opposition to sort of take advantage of?
Yes, I feel I mean, there's no weak link in this team, but the weakest link potentially could be Shardul Thakur. Only reason he's there is because he has, that tendency to grab or take 1 or 2 wickets. That is the only reason he's there. In case the pitch is seaming a bit, aiding seam bowling, he can pick up 1 or 2 wickets, and he has done it. So that is the only reason, and he has some ability. I mean, basic ability with the bat. He's helped us, with some test match knocks. But I felt yesterday, and I wanted to raise this with you, that Ashwin could have been playing instead of Shardul Thakur. I mean, with his experience and the pitch doing something, like with Kuldeep Yadav as well, Ashwin is so intelligent, so experienced that he could have used that wicket and his knowledge to outfox the Pakistani batsmen. I mean, Pakistani batsmen were not in a position to pick up the spin bowling. I mean, they were struggling against Jadeja as well. I mean, if you look at Jadeja's run rate, economy, he took 9.5 in 9.5 overs. He took like 2 wickets for 38 runs. So basically 3.86. I mean, they couldn't even play Jadeja properly. So Ashwin would have been lethal yesterday. I mean, restricting the runs, and he would have picked up another 2 wickets. I mean, like in his spell itself. So that's what is my take on Shardul Thakur position yesterday.
I think even Jadeja's ball also turned a lot more than Yadav. If you remember the
Yeah.
very first over in which Mohammad Rizwan was given out and he reviewed and got the not out decision, the ball did turn quite a lot. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, a finger spinner on this kind of wicket would have been. And in fact, while Rizwan and Babar were building that partnership, I did mention in one of our friends' groups that probably Rohit Sharma has misread the wicket and he should have added Ashwin. But anyway, as it turned out, we dismissed Pakistan for 191, and that made our batters' task a lot more easy. And in came Shubman Gill after the bout of dengue that he had had, and he was seemed to be in a hurry. Yeah, he scored 16, all in boundaries. And Rohit Sharma, he was looking in a very different zone today. It almost looked as if Shri, looking at his facial expressions today while he was batting, he was looking very angry for some reason, and he obviously, I think he had one eye on the run rate, but uh, even then I think he was just going bang bang bang, and of course yes, that helped us win the game eventually with almost 20 overs to spare. So what do you have to say about India's batting and consequently Pakistan's bowling? Do you think they could have done anything
Yeah.
differently defending such a small total?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, actually. If you look at Rohit Sharma's approach, and it was also reflected in Shubman Gill's approach as well, both of them, it was a team decision, I feel, to attack and boss Pakistani attack, because there is a clear sort of understanding that Indian team, the players know what their role is. They trust their ability, their training, years of practice, and the current mindset under Rahul Dravid's sort of mentorship. So it's pretty clear, and they felt clearly that they are few levels above Pakistan. And if they just trust their attacking instincts and even try to maybe extra aggressive, that will set the template for the rest of the innings and make quick work of this 191, which is a paltry score. This pitch, they should have scored at least 270 to 80. This was not a 320 wicket. It was not that easy to bat on, but it was not that tough to bat on as Pakistan made it look. Rotation of strike, a bit more intent could have done them some good. Rohit Sharma, I agree with you. I felt in some shots he was actually a bit angry, especially after hitting some sixes. He was like, "Why are they still bowling me like short ball when I'm like such a master at the pull stroke?" And he showed that sort of what do you call, anger in that. But I think that's a good thing, because the idea is to try to create a gap in the net run rate and to tell the other teams that we are here to win this particular World Cup. And it's not, I think it's also related to the constant jibes and the barbs thrown at the Indian team over the last few ICC tournaments, that you reach all the way to semi-finals, finals, but you're not good enough. But this time, I think what was plaguing the Indian team before in 2019 and the previous T20 World Cups was the middle order issue, right? No, lack of aggression. They are trying to address that part, and obviously it starts from the opening batsman.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, and I do believe that we are looking much stronger than what we were in 2019. Although, if you remember, in 2019 also we only lost one league game, but then bulk of the batting was being done by the top three. But here now in fact, it was a blessing in disguise that we lost 3 wickets so early against Australia. So I think the form of KL Rahul and of course Hardik Pandya and Jadeja have not really been required so far. So we'll have to see how our middle order goes. But yeah, it is looking pretty good. So yeah, a note on the Pakistani bowlers, Shri. I think they didn't come with any plan, and when they were attacked, they didn't have a plan B or plan C, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Shaheen Shah Afridi could be maybe excused for not being like, on top, as people are calling him. He's just come back from injury, but he's still doing good. He can pick up himself. Now, the concern is Hasan Ali. Now, uh, like India has a problem of plenty, which is a good problem to have. Pakistan doesn't have that problem. I mean, they have another problem, which is actually a problem. Now, so the point is, great young budding fast bowler Naseem Shah, once he got injured, they were scrambling. Now Hasan Ali has dropped down pace from 2019, 2018. I think he starred in the 2017 Cup, right? T20, yeah, Champions Trophy, yes. So his pace was much higher. He was more aggressive, but he's right now, like, I mean, he's hitting 85, miles per hour. He's hitting that, but a lot of times, if you notice, he's bowling early 80s, and it is not. It's just like he's dropping the ball. That's it. He's just, with his quick action, he's just dropping the ball. And Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill were just driving for fun. So that's the main concern for Pakistan bowling. Naseem Shah's place, Hasan Ali, he might do better against lesser teams, but with top teams, they will take him for cleaners. Very easy. If he bowls length, nothing happening with his ball. Now, another concern is, there are two main concerns, actually three, if I can count all of them. Hasan Ali, you've got Haris Rauf, and you've got Shadab Khan. Biggest concern is Shadab Khan. Now, he's done well in T20, but he has not done well in recent times in one-day international. And it is due to the fact that he has not played any 4-day cricket or test cricket in the last 2 years. There is no sort of that long-term strategy, because T20, I mean, you can just be a leg spinner, a wrist spinner. You can fly it very googly and quicker one, and you will get a wicket because batsmen are attacking, or you will get taken to the cleaners. But in one-day match, you'll have to have a plan B and a plan C. You'll have to use different speeds, release points, variations at various times. Sometimes you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
He's not doing that because he's not played long-term cricket. So that is the main concern. People were, I think, Pakistanis were. Who's the other spinner? Osama.
Mohammad Nawaz.
Osama Mir in the
Osama
reserves.
Bin, okay, the one
Yes,
who's
yeah,
not.
yeah. So they are asking for him to replace for the India game even.
Yeah,
But they went with Shadab Khan because of his all round. He's actually their best fielder. That's why he gets to play, and he bats a bit. So that is the only thing that is saving him. Now that is the problem with Shadab Khan. Haris Rauf, he doesn't. There's a concern that he then doesn't bowl in the big occasions. Like he doesn't bowl at his best on the big occasions. Bouncer, he has to be more aggressive with his Yorkers and all that stuff. That's the main concern, that he's not been up to the mark as well. So big occasions, Haris Rauf, there's a big concern there.
you're right. Yeah, so I think so with that, India wins and it's 8-0. Shri, before we wrap up the India Pakistan review, I think हर बार ये एक बहुत शूशा होता है इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच से पहले, इतना इतना हाइप, इतना इसको उतना बड़ा कर देते हैं with so much of pressure, but ultimately you see most of the matches have turned out to be whimpers. Yeah, Pakistan has just given up, thrown in the towel without really pushing India in most of the games. If you go back to 92 from where it started, and of course we remember 96, 99, 2003. So I think, which one is your favorite India Pakistan World Cup game, Shri?
I mean, this is, okay. I mean, they build it up so high as like the marquee event, but it just falls flat, as you said correctly, because India tends to manage the pressure a lot better. Now, I have on my screen a snapshot of all the 8 encounters.
Okay.
I'll share it with you later.
Sure.
It's beautiful, and it has like a thumbnail. So you've got 1992 India winning by 43 runs, 96 India win by 39 runs, 99 43 runs, 2003 India win by 6 wickets. 2011 20 India win by 29 runs, 2015 by 75 runs, 2019 by 89 runs, Rohit Sharma show there, and 2023 by 7 wickets. Now, my favorite, just because that was my first real World Cup where I was watching with some sort of analysis, some passion. 92, I think, was too young to, look at the finer points. I think you might agree with me. So 96 for you and me, well, for our generation, was the primary event, especially with the Navjot Singh Sidhu batting, Ajay Jadeja smacking Waqar Yunis, and then the best of the lot, Venkatesh Prasad and Amir Sohail. I mean, we still can't forget it. Now, my favorite would be 1996, closely followed by 2003, because 2003 was, we were in high school, we were graduating year 12, and their top bowlers were still there. Waqar, Wasim, and Shoaib was also there, and that uppercut six from Sachin and Sehwag, who can forget that? And young Yuvraj, amazing. Dravid. So 96, 2003, I mean, too close. Number one and number two for me. What about you, Sidha?
Yeah, I think those two would be the ones. If you actually look at it, अगर मैं अपने आप को देखूं, मैं YouTube में जाके कभी मैं 2015 का, वैसे भी इतना फुटेज नहीं है. ICC only gives, I think, 2 or 3 minute footage of the 2015 World Cup for some reason.
Yeah.
2019 also इतना मुझे शौक नहीं जितना मैं 2003. या तो हो सकता है it's nostalgia factor. It could be we were at a more impressionable age than in 2015 and 19, and we are now, by 2015 we had got used to beating Pakistan. So I think it doesn't really come as something special. Even yesterday's win, had it been a closer contest, would have really enjoyed. So although we did enjoy, but I think we'll probably forget it after a while, because it has become now so routine for us to beat Pakistan. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at when we look at hyping these kind of contests. And yes, for me, 96 and 2003. Yes, I think 2003 is something that I tend to watch more than 96, because I think just the aura that the Pakistani team had at that time, with Sachin Tendulkar taking them on, the first 5 overs, the atmosphere that it became when Waqar Yunis picked up those 2 wickets in 2 balls, that was just something magical, and I'm sure it must have been so much more magical to actually be there at the stadium in Centurion that day. So yeah, those two are there. So with that, Shri, we wrap up the India-Pakistan review. India has now won 8 games against them, and India is now firmly placed to probably finish in the top two, if not, the top position. But I think that in World Cup it hardly matters. I think at the end of the day, we won't really be upset if we come third or fourth in the league stage, because there's no incentive to come first and second. But yes, I think we are looking pretty good now to reach the semis, although still few more games left. Now, Shri, looking forward to the next talking point that I have here, and it is about the performance of the Australians. Now, in this week, of course, Australia played their second game against South Africa. And if I look at the scorecard here, Australia, I would say, restricted South Africa to 311 for nine. And I think they did pretty well, because they were at one point of time looking like scoring 350. But then the kind of batting performance that Australia has given was pretty shambolic, to say the least, and they just off color. And for a World Cup, it's unheard of Australians being off color. In fact, this is the first time that they've lost their first two games of an ODI World Cup since 1992, Sri. So quickly, how would you assess Australia's performance so far?
Very off script. When you look at the Australian World Cup campaigns, they were serial champions starting from 87, 99, 2003, 7. I mean, during the late 90s and 2000s, unbeatable, right? Till the Ponting era, McGrath, Shane Warne, all these people. Now, it seems that they are not in the right frame of mind. Their management, their coach is Andrew McDonald, who used to be like a medium pacer, played for Australia for a brief while. Daniel Vittori is in their coaching staff as well. I don't think Cummins is the right captain for one-day internationals. He's not captain much in one day. He's captain in test matches. That's fine, but you need I think, a batting captain. David Warner is on the downslide towards the the fag end of his career. Even Steve Smith is not, scoring hundreds. I mean, he's not at his peak in one-day internationals. Marnus Labuschagne is more of Steve Smith's shadow. He's more technical, even though he plays different shots. He's not going to give you 100+ strike rates regularly. Now, if you look at Australia's batting scorecard, where is that domination? Where's the sense of aura that they carried when Matthew Hayden was like dominating on the pitch? Andrew Simons, Ricky Ponting, and Gilchrist was there. Now, if you look at this Australian lineup, Mitchell Marsh, he's scored 7 runs against South Africa. David Warner, 13 runs off 27 balls, the strike rate being 48. Unheard of. So I don't think they're in the right frame of mind. They have the right team and they have the right leadership. Marnus Labuschagne, best strike rate is Josh English, but he scored 5 runs, so that doesn't matter. And then you got imagine Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins have 27 and 22 at the end. If they hadn't scored those runs, they wouldn't have reached even 177. So their batsmen, their leadership, even their bowling selection actually is. I think the spinner selection is shocking. I think, Sid, you might agree with me. Adam Zampa is the lead spinner. Nathan Lyon made himself ready, as we've discussed this. Then you got that Tanveer Sangha, the Indian origin spinner. They've not done right by just Maxwell picked up more wickets than Zampa in this game.
Yeah, so, and I think a lot of the media, even the Aussie, some of the podcasters that I was listening to this, they were saying that the planning is they haven't planned this World Cup pretty well in terms of team selection, because how can you go to a World Cup with only one frontline spinner? I mean, they are banking on Maxwell as a frontline spinner, which I don't think is the right option, because even if they may say that he was economical against India, but India was in a position that they were in with not too much of a required run rate and 3 wickets down. They played Maxwell smart rather than going after him. It wasn't really required. So at that point of time, you needed a spinner who could pick up wickets. So Maxwell couldn't provide that. So while Maxwell performed well, I think it was partly because of him that South Africa could not reach 340, 350, because at one point of time they were looking on cards to do that. But yes, I think, and one too many all-rounders in their top 6. I see Carey hasn't performed, so this time they got Josh Inglis in. Don't know how much of a good batsman he is, and Mitchell Marsh opening is something that I am not really convinced of, because in a T20 game it's fine, he scores a 40, 50 in the power play, it's fine. But in a one-day match, your top order needs to get firstly the start, which they haven't got from Mitchell Marsh, and even if once they get the start, he needs to convert a 30 or a 40 into an 80, 90 or a 100, which is what a one day demands. तो मुझे नहीं लगता श्री उनकी प्लानिंग इतनी अच्छी रही है. बाकी आई थिंक they will have to really pull up their socks now, because now they cannot afford another loss, because then it will be a mountain too steep to climb for them. So
I think the only way for them is for the batsmen, the top order, middle order, to fire. I mean, play out of their skin, because then their pacemen can come in, like Hazelwood, Stark, Cummins. Cummins has not been that great in one days as a bowler as well. But their batsmen have to play out of their skin. Warner, Smiths, they have to come to party. Mitchell Marsh, Labuschagne has to give that supporting sort of an anchor role, stay towards the end as well. If he comes within 15 overs, stay till the end and let the others hit. And they put the best totals possible. That is the only way I see for them, and get some aggression in. Otherwise, I don't think unka अच्छे prospects लग रहे हैं इस World Cup में.
Because I think aggression lacking even against India when Smith and Warner were going. I think they just couldn't press the accelerator or really.
Bro, the catch drops, number of catch they dropped is, again, I think, was it against this game, like this particular game, right? Against Australia, what, 5 or 6 chances?
Yes. About,
Man, that is shocking.
It was shocking, and not just the catching, even the ground fielding. They made a lot of errors in the ground fielding as well. So very unlike Aussie performance. I think somewhere they are missing some key elements, and I think अभी उनको बहुत काम करना है. So, but anyway, I mean, Australia, Shri, we cannot write them off. But yes, since we were talking about Australia South Africa match, I think we can talk about South Africa. Shri, excellent performance, 2 wins out of 2. De Kock has scored 2 centuries. Suddenly, South Africa is looking like the team which is going to make it to the semis. And I think generally हम South Africa को जब देखते हैं in a subcontinental condition, they are not generally considered as favorites, because their lack of good spin bowling options, or even their lack of playing spin well. But what do you think South Africa has done well, Shri, this time?
I think the management has had some clarity, and they've actually, unloaded that onto the players. You can see that in the player selection as well. Like, they have that trust and faith on Keshav Maharaj. See, Keshav Maharaj has become like a Daniel Vittori sort of a figure for them. If you see that, he's got that potential. They see in that particular mold. Now, another thing is they've learned a lot from IPL. To answer your question about playing spin-friendly conditions in India. So the IPL experience has come well. They've learned from it, implemented it in their own T20 league there, the Super League and all. So one main thing that's working for them is Quinton de Kock is just flying at the start itself. And I feel that the main strength this time, which is, appealed to everyone who's watching this 2023 World Cup, is their middle order. Especially against that match in Sri Lanka, right? Against the Sri Lankan, where they had that, they mauled their bowling attack, especially Patirana. I mean, you got players like Aiden Markram, Heinrich Klaassen, Rassie van der Dusen. And obviously, after them comes David Miller, who's like a Klusner sort of, I see him in that Klusner sort of a frame, that the cover mein jo chauka marta na, ek slap, which Klusner used to play so well in 1999 World Cup. David Miller does that. He also hits the cow corner shot as well, very well. So the key thing that you were asking, what is so different about them, is the middle order. Is equally powerful, best hitters around. I think we cannot. I was actually going for an evening walk today, and I have a cricket crazy neighbor. He plays cricket with his son, outside. Indian guy from Gujarat. He says South Africa aage tak jayega, theek hai, but as usual they will get knocked out. I mean, that was the common thing, but he said, "Maine bola nahi yaar, this time just look at their middle order." So that's what's appealing to me, and maybe you might also recognize that fact.
I mean, of course, see, South Africa, I think their strongest ever team was I think the 96 and the 99 teams. But I think you can never count out South Africa messing it up at the crucial stage. But let's see how it goes. I think they're looking very strong, and I'm actually.
If there's no Duckworth Lewis or any rain or any sort of a natural disaster, I think they should do well. I feel. I mean.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm really looking forward to India South Africa. Eden Gardens mein hone wala. I think it's going to be a mouth-watering contest if India continue to perform, the way they're performing with their bat. I think it's going to be a pretty good power-hitting contest. I think
it's going to be a high-scoring thing. Yeah,
it is. And De Kock, I think Shri, Again, I think experienced player at the top, 2 centuries in 2 games. How do you see his role going ahead?
Remember when he started playing, he used to do very well against India.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
he was
yes.
like this Saeed Anwar figure, which I was like, whenever I used to see Deepak, I'm like, gone. He's
We
gonna hit. But
we
then
were
he hit.
sick. We were sick of the sight of left-handers at that time. We had Saeed Anwar,
Yeah,
Jay
yeah,
Surya, even Marcus Despotic. I think a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
this came against it, and later Salman Butt also scored a lot of centuries against India.
Yeah, even Fakhar Zaman briefly, that Champions Trophy and all, but then he's gone down. But Quinton de Kock went down in terms of the form. He was not that much consistent, but now he's some sort of he's facing or he's going through some sort of a renaissance, some sort of a resurgence where he's consistently performing well, knows his strengths. He's matured. He's not like very emotional. He's generally very emotional in nature. Got drawn into arguments with David Warner and all this stuff a few years ago in 2018, but now he's not doing that. He's very matured. He's got a balanced head, and as a wicket keeper, he's keeping an eye out on the field as well, like helps with the field placing. So he's like a more Gilchrist figure right now, which he was promised to attain that sort of potential. So let's look forward to South Africa surprising us. So I'm actually looking forward to South Africa and New Zealand, see how they do in this tournament. Besides, obviously rooting for India.
True, true. And thanks to their two very, very convincing wins, although they are at number three right now with 4 points, but that's purely because they played one game less than New Zealand, India. और उनका run rate अभी सबसे अच्छा है श्री 2.36. No wonder, because obviously the way they batted. And I think a note on bowlers also, Shri, in that game against Australia, I think I was looking at the start. Although they didn't pick up early wickets, Warner and Marsh were struggling, but they were not getting dismissed. But I think they were just not able to get the ball off the square. The bowling, I think Ngidi
Yeah.
I think it was Janssen.
Janssen, Marco Janssen.
I
Yes.
think they really bowl well, and all of their bowlers are very tall bowlers. So I think on a good sporting wicket, and which I think Eden Gardens also would offer in their match against India, we have a challenge on our hands, Sri.
I know. I know. It's actually I'm a bit skeptical about this game as well. Like if any team can beat India, it's South Africa or New Zealand. Those are the two teams I'm a bit concerned about, because with South Africa, my sort of fear is that if their middle order, if Quinton de Kock starts right really well, and Van der Dussen and this guy Klaassen and Aiden Markram, if they start hitting, if they pick up Kuldeep well, then they can, post a very big total, and we have to be on top of our game. That's where I think Shardul Thakur's selection might come and bite us. That is my concern. Obviously, as a follower of Indian cricket, and you would maybe agree with that. I think Siraj should come back into his natural form of finding the right length and line. So those are the two key concerns. Looking forward now, talking about South African bowlers, you're right. They're tall, and don't rule out Marco Janssen. I mean, his height is like another, with a lefty sort of a that specialty that comes, which Wasim Akram used to create that angle. It's very awkward for any right-hander. So he's doing good. Rabada is the key here. I think Rabada is picking up his game, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think the fact that he's coming in as the first change bowler instead of opening the bowling has given him that boost to do well. And I
Do you
think
think? Do you remember Alan Donald used to come first change at one point of time, like when
absolutely,
he was experienced?
yes, yes, true, true. I think because by
Yeah,
that time Ntini came, and Ntini and Pollock,
yeah, yeah. Pollock, Entini, and then Alan Donald.
and then Alan Donald. Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
that their bowling is looking very good. They're hit
good.
at bowlers and
Yeah.
on wickets which probably don't have too much bounce. Also, they're able to get the bounce because of the height. So मुझे लगता है they are in good space going ahead. Or let's see क्या
Well,
होता है.
even Keshav Maharaj, he's obviously playing that Vittori role. And let's not forget Tabrez Shamshi. He's
Yeah.
a wristy, right? He's a wrist spinner, like proper Chinaman, and he's aggressive. He's very enterprising. If you look at his celebrations
Yes.
in the local T20 leagues, he carries like a flag and all in his celebration. He's very in your face. So Shamshi could be a good part of the lineup with Keshav Maharaj. So let's not rule them out as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So South Africa are looking good right now, and let's see how they go. The next talking point, Sri, is about New Zealand, and they are just being the uber professional cricketers that they have always been. But I think now with so much consistency in their team, The captain also came back in the match against Bangladesh, which they went on to win by 8 wickets. So convincing victory for New Zealand. So they also had 3 out of 3 wins. So quick word, Sri, on New Zealand so far. How do you think they're shaping up?
Pretty good, pretty good. Now, I think people are realizing, even in the cricketing circles, journalists, everyone, that they are not punching above their weight. They are punching their weight. I mean, that's what's finally people are like, okay, let's stop putting them or labeling them as underdogs. They're actually the main people. They've been consistently coming to the finals, the semi-finals in the last few ICC events. So they're doing really well. All bases covered. Pace, Lockie Ferguson came and and you can see Matt Henry is bowling quick as well. Trent Bolt is like, the lefty who's, with the swing coming inside to the pads of the right hand batsman early up. Lockie Ferguson picked up 3 wickets against Bangladesh, and he showed some speed and some fire. So, I mean, it's got perfect balance. You have a left armer, you've got a right arm quick on Matt Henry, and you've got a express pacer in Lockie Ferguson, and then you have the guile of Mitchell Santner, who's amazing, who's consistent, varies his pace as we discussed previously. And then Rachin Ravindra is there who can fill up a few overs here and there.
Yeah.
Daryl and Phillips and also Bone.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think their batting, of course, had been bolstered with the inclusion of Williamson. Although I think उस मैच में उसको thumb में injury हुआ है और Tom Blundell को as a cover has been called up for Williamson. So I think although their team is saying that Williamson will still play a part in the rest of the pool games, but we don't know how that stands. But their batting, Shri, again, I think Devon Conway again played well for 45. Kane Williamson himself scored 78, and I think Daryl Mitchell is another guy like a typical Kiwi going under the radar. I think since that England Test series last year, if you remember, he scored 3 centuries in that 3 Test series. And even before that, in the 2021 T20 World Cup, he defeated New England with his exploits with the bat. So he's a very, very key component in the New Zealand batting.
Yeah, I mean, he's the attacking cog in that particular lineup. Remember Martin Guptill and Brendan McCullum and all that stuff. He can do that, but in the middle order.
Yeah.
And he can clear the, what do you call, the oval, the park. He can, clear any sort of ground. He's got that sort of power, aggression, and he can pace his innings well. I mean, that game against Bangladesh, he's got 89 of 87 balls. I mean, amazing. I mean, Kane Williamson coming from an injury and then obviously retired hurt due to the freak accident to the thumb. I don't know how that happens, man. I mean, he's such a great player, but they're saying that he'll still come back towards the latter part of the World Cup. But Glenn Phillips is also a good player. I mean, we should not rule him out. Daryl Mitchell is something that provides them that firepower in the middle order, which I think is proven previously as well that he's amazing. And then Devon Conway, with his IPL experience at Chennai, is going to always provide that consistency at the top. I mean, he's amazing. Like, Stephen Fleming for the modern era, like with that extra. Stephen Fleming is amazing, right? For the 90s, early 2000s. And Stephen Fleming is the coach at CSK as well, right? I mean, most of the time. So, yeah, I mean, they've got it all covered. I think, like South Africa, look out for them.
True. Yes, absolutely. So New Zealand also, I think, cementing their place right at the top. So I think they're going to go a long way, it seems. So great for that. And then the last talking point of the day, Shri, is about Sri Lanka. Mostly about Kusal Mendis, because I think he is one guy who has caught everyone's eye in the first 2 games. Full of talent, the guy. He burst onto the scene in 2016 in that test match against Australia in Palakele, when his team was following on and he scored 176 and Sri Lanka went on to win. So from then, at that time, he has been in and out of the team, was dropped for a while, has played some good innings in between, but never really consistent. But now seems to be really in this World Cup showing his true colors. 76 against South Africa, and now his maiden World Cup century against Pakistan, which really, I think, set them up for a score which should have been in excess of 360. But yeah, what do you have to say about his batting and Sri Lanka's performance so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's the bright spark in the Sri Lankan batting. Amazing talent. Something I was feeling when I was looking at him bat, he's clearing the ground at will. Yeah. And he's got that calmness about him, like Aravinda De Silva or like Mahela Jayawardena, like those sort of past greats that Sri Lanka have had. So I think if remember how we were discussing that they are missing stalwarts like, Ranatunga, De Silva, Jayasuriya, or even Jayavardhana or Sangakkara. Now, I was feeling that the batting team can build around Kusal Mendis' genius and his striking ability, his temperament. So you can have like, if Nisanka can be more consistent, he's obviously a very good player. I mean, Kusal Pereira tries to play like Jayasuriya, but he has to be consistent.
Yeah.
Now, with Kusal Mendis as the key cog, and then you have Sadira. I like Asalanka. He's a good player. So with Asalanka, Sadira, Nisanka surrounding him, and even Dhananjay De Silva at the latter part of the middle order, they can actually build a good team. They need a power hitter. That's one thing. Shanaka was supposed to be a hitter, but that's not working well for them, as you can see. I Sure. I don't know whether you can back this. Has Kushal Mendes been anointed as the captain? So we have to look into
I'm
that.
not aware of that. I'm not aware of that yet.
Yeah.
Could be some
So
breaking coming in. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's more of a breaking. I'm just looking at it. It's more of a a recent sort of oh yeah, it's confirmed. Kusal Mendes is to be the captain in the World Cup. We can actually follow it up after this podcast, and maybe we could discuss that. Shanaka has suffered a thigh injury
Okay.
in Tuesday's 6-wicket loss to Pakistan.
Okay.
So
To New Zealand, you mean? To New Zealand. Oh, sorry, to Pakistan. Yes, to Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
So, a player called Chamika Karuna Ratne is replacing
Yes,
Shanaka,
yes.
and
He's a very
yeah,
useful all rounder. Chamika
yeah.
Karunakaran was part of the squad which won the Asia Cup last year.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah, okay, that's some breaking news for you guys right here in the podcast. So now Kusal Mendis, the best batsman so far in the World Cup, is going to be the captain. I hope that doesn't put too much pressure on him to perform.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I think he's been the only bright light so far in there. But if you see in both the matches, they have scored in excess of 300. So I think the batting is doing pretty well, but they
Mm.
badly are missing their bowlers. Really.
Yeah. As I think the most important thing is Patirana.
Yeah,
He's more of a T20 bowler. He's still a youngster, right? I mean, he's what, 19?
yeah.
So he's basically not ready for one days. That's the consensus. He's not able to bowl the right line and length, vary, push it, pull it back a bit. He's bowling too full. So Patirana has to go and someone else has to come. Who's the other guy in the one with the beard? So he's very good.
I don't know his
Yeah,
name. I think
I don't know his name because he's pretty good. So he should be playing in terms of what do you call their main strike bowler. So he should be there. So Lahiru Kumara.
Lahiru Kumar.
Lahiru Kumara. Yes, that's the one. So he should be playing, and then you need to, try to mentor Velalage, and then Shanaka is not there. Madhushanka is a good bowler.
Shankar.
Tikshana. So their attack has to revolve around Madhushanka and Tikshana. Tikshana, obviously, in the sorry, that game went for 5.90.
Right.
So 3 wickets. Sorry, not 3 wickets. He took 1 wicket. So I feel that Tikshana has to be the center, Madhushanka as the main key fast bowler, and then don't play Patirana. I don't think he should be playing right now. And then bring Lahiru Kumara.
Lahiru Kumar. Yeah. Lahiru Kumar
Yeah,
is a pretty decent bowler, and yeah. So I think
he's got some pace.
he's got some pace. Yes, yes. So well, tough road ahead for Sri Lanka now, and as things stand, I think South Africa, India, and New Zealand are the only unbeaten teams so far, and I think they are primed to take among the top 4 spots in the semi-final. So let's see. Thank you so much, Sri. We have quite a few interesting matches coming ahead. As I said, our viewers, we try to make it as consistent as we can, but please bear with us for coming in maybe after only a week. We'll try as time goes on with this podcast that we get a bit more regular. But yeah, some of the key matches looking ahead, Sri, are Australia, Sri Lanka on the 16th of October. Then we also have very key game between Pakistan and Australia on the 20th of October. Of course, before that we have India Bangladesh. So we will definitely come back, guys, either on a Saturday or a Sunday next time. So by that time, some more crucial matches would have happened. Till then, please take care of yourselves and please continue to like, subscribe, share video and subscribe to our channel. Please share with your friends and colleagues, and let this community of organic cricket discussing people grow. So thank you so much. Thank you, Shri, for your time. I know it's pretty late down under, but please sleep well, and see you soon. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day. And as Sid said, please follow us, help us share our passion, and please do comment, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.